We are. Hey guys, it's Dona Rutowicz from Divorcing Gracefully and Beyond, and we have a very special guest today. Lora, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited
Well,
you're
thank
here.
you.
Yes,
Thanks for
I'm
inviting
so
me.
excited. Yeah, oh my gosh. You are so welcome. So, what I thought we'd do is let's just get right into it. Why don't you just
Okay.
start and tell us who you are and what brought you to Divorcing Gracefully and Beyond? And I hope you have your coffee as we chat together for our.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. So,
Well,
I'll
my
leave it to you.
my name's Laura Terry, and I went through a divorce about a year and a half ago, and continued dating my ex up to a few months ago, and it just didn't work. Broke off, and of course, I was doing the typical downward spiral,
Yeah.
feeling bad about myself. Didn't feel like I had a lot of self worth. And one particular Sunday, I was talking to my brother on the phone, and I happened to have just my Facebook open and was scrolling through, and I was just in a horrible mood and was very, very deep down dark. And my brother, I
Mhm.
think he was a little bit scared about it, but we got talking, and I just happened to see your name and one of your posts that you had in Facebook about, getting into this call. And I started reading it. And I have to admit, very sarcastically, was reading it and saying, yeah, 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 you can get fixed and this, yeah, blah,
Yeah.
blah,
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 blah. Who's this
blah,
Donnie
blah.
girl? Yes.
And I just kept reading what you had written there. And pretty soon, I mean, with my nasty voice, I went, wait a minute, there's something for real here. This is kind of resonating with me. And so my brother very, very kindly agreed to get off the phone because I think he was tired of my, you know, not being real nice about things on the phone, and decided to hang up and allowed me to get onto your Facebook webinar and
Yeah.
watched it. And as I was watching it, it went off, and because I was putting my earbuds in and it went blank, and I started panicking. I'm like, wait a minute, I need this.
There we
It
go.
resonated in my heart immediately. And so I just kind of like, oh no, what am I going to do? I started panicking. So I called my brother back, which I don't think he was really happy
He's probably
that
like,
I
wait a
called
minute.
back.
I thought we were just done. How did this
Yes,
happen?
yes, because he was like, oh, I thought I got rid of you for a while. My goodness, you're crazy. And I had him looking, trying to find it. And he goes, I think it's going to repeat itself. So don't worry, you'll find it. Don't worry. And so within time, it did repeat itself, and I was able to pull it up. But by that time, enough was said to my heart that I knew
Mm,
it was important for me to hear. And it was not by chance. It was something that was inspired for me to find. And I
I
started, and I listened
concur.
to your webinar again.
Mhm.
And once I got through that, I immediately set up a call, and that's how I found you. And we talked, and I just everything, Donna. It's just the words you said, but the way I felt inside. I mean, it was the first time I felt a little glimmer of light, and I knew it
Yeah.
was important for me to join. And so that's how I found you. And so it's
And
been
like
a
you said,
wonderful ride.
no coincidence, right? The
Never.
timing, and maybe at that time that you were supposed to listen to the masterclass, you wouldn't have heard the information as if you when you're really ready for it. Because I do believe that. I believe that the information comes to us when we're ready for it. But what I
Exactly.
also believe, and I don't know if you feel this too, Laura, in my own journey beginning, right after my divorce, post divorce, and even many years after my divorce, I would
Hmm.
say to myself, God, and I say God, right? God, universe, bring me something. I need an answer because this can't be all that there is to life. This can't my thought. I can't imagine because on the outside, for me personally, it looked like I had all my shit together, right? No one would have known the struggle that I was going through, right? But internally,
Exactly.
there was this battle and there was a struggle. And so in my moments by myself, I would say, God, there's got to be a better way. But what ended up happening was God was giving me little morsels of guidance, but I couldn't see it because my vibrational frequency wasn't at that level. So it was almost like these morsels
Right.
of guidance were coming, but they were floating by, and I wasn't able to see them. But for you, in your particular case, you were at the space where you were actually able to see it.
Yes, I was. And it had gone through a lot of that, because when I first got divorced, I
Mhm.
decided to do the typical that everybody does, jump online so I could find someone that would make me feel loved, right? Because I
That's
didn't
what
think I could
many
find
people
it in
do.
myself.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I started going down that same crazy thing. And within 2 weeks, it had gone out with 3 different men. And every one of them, I just felt sick inside. And then I just, I said, you know what? You're not going to get a different result if you keep going down the same path. Because that's what I did after my first divorce.
Yeah.
I did the same thing. And it didn't allow me time to really, really get inside and find out what was bothering me and release it so I could really love myself again. It's been a struggle. And it's absolutely been such a blessing that I found you. But me realizing I had to go about it differently, it was huge for me. And so, it's been such a great ride.
Let's talk about that for a second, right? Because I think you're like me, and is like every woman who's probably listening to this, is we have this idea of what society tells us we need to do, right? Get over it,
right?
Get out there, just date, time will heal. And I'm not going to say that that's terrible information, because time does heal. The time will give us a little bit of healing, right? And it is nice to be out in the community and doing things rather than sitting home in your bed, right? We don't want to be the cat lady in the condo alone, right? It's nice to be out there.
My sister even said that. She said, you're just going to end up the old cat lady. I'm like,
which is what we'll never be, the cat lady in the condo ever.
We'll be the dog lady in the condo.
By choice, though, right? By choice.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? But what society doesn't tell us, and this is what we learn here at Divorcing Gracefully and Beyond, is that in order to truly have the life that we desire that's in our heart, because there's a picture, right? You feel in your heart there's something greater. You may not be able to visualize it. You may not be able to exactly say, this is what I want and this is where I'm going. You do as you go through the program, right? You get that clarity. But at the moment, you may not be sure, but this feeling. And it's this, what we know is that we have to become our own soulmate first, right? We have to fall in love with ourselves. We have to become, I like to say, become the lover you desire, because that's what brings everything to us, right? If you think about it, we are the magnet to what is happening in our life, good, bad, or indifferent, however we're going to label it, because the event is just the event, right? It's not good. It's not bad. The event is just the event. Now are we in our destiny, or are we in the dwelling phase, right? Are we in our abundance, or are we going to be in the victim mindset? So let's talk about that for you. How important was it for you to really shift out of that, I'm going to look for love in someone else, but then bring it back to, you know what? I need to find the love in myself first. Because I think
it was scary. It was scary first.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I think when I think back and think where I was when I first found you and everything, it was a scary situation in my mind to pull back and to sit home, because you and I have talked in the past about when we felt alone, when we felt like we needed something, we would run. And if something was resonating with us that said, hey, you need to sit back and really think about this, take your time. What did we do? I got in the car and ran, went and called up a girlfriend, went and did this, went and did that.
Right. We ran, or we got really busy with doing stuff.
Yeah, totally, to block it out of my mind.
Yes.
So the difference with coming back in, at first, I think I told you, okay, you had said, you just need to sit with it and be still and allow things to come to you. And I'm like, I don't know how to be still. I'm extremely busy all the time. And so
that's it, but how do I do it?
Yes. So you just said, do it. Just get in your house, sit down, allow your thoughts to come in. Don't run from them. Feel them and see what they tell you. And then tell the story that you want to have your life be beyond that, and it has been hard, because there was pain, not just from this divorce, but from my first divorce, plus my mother passed away years ago. And so I have dealt with a lot of pain in my heart that I haven't released. And so I remember that first weekend having a Saturday in my home, and I've started into meditation, and I thought, okay, I'm going to sit down and try one of these little meditation things. And I sat down, and all this stuff was flooding my mind. And I was like, the number one thing was flooding. It was the negative thought first.
Yeah.
I'm all by myself. Yeah. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares if I die. I could just be dead and stinky in the house for weeks before people found me, kind of feelings. But as I sat there,
right? It's not a fact, but they're feelings, right? But that's the story you were telling yourself. Yeah.
Yes, because you said, go ahead and allow the feelings. And that right there is a scary proposition for me to allow it. And so as I allowed that, then I got beyond that and started saying, well, wait, I'm valuable. What is my future going to be? What is my story going to be? Am I going to allow myself to sit here and allow everything else that has happened to me to dictate my future? And I'm a stubborn person. And I'm a very dedicated and determined. And for the ladies that's been here,
I like that. Yes, I'm a determined person.
Yes. In the past, I would, when things were hard, sometimes I give in. Well, most of the women here don't know, I went through a huge weight loss story where I had to get real with myself, and I lost 171 pounds on a Weight Watcher program and have maintained it for 11 years. And that was with no surgery, but was dedication to the future and to the outcome. And I knew I was going to die early. That's why I did it, because I was on blood pressure meds and everything, and it was killing me physically. Well, I thought that was a hard journey. I got into the head part with this one. And my determined nature, I sat there and allowed myself to process the value that I had inside. And I knew I didn't feel it really. And I was just kind of reiterating it in my mind that you have value, you have something to give. There is a greater purpose for you here. God, universe, purpose, whatever people believe.
Whatever you align with.
There is a divine mission for me here, and I'm going to find it. So that was my drive. I'm going to get out of this funk. I'm not going to allow all this crap in my past to bring me down and make me just this, because I'm much more.
Yeah.
And that's,
you are more.
So I started to feel immediately light coming into my soul. And that was the beginning. Yeah. So that's kind of where I started. And so abundance, I started feeling abundance immediately just by allowing that and realizing I had worth. Just that day was amazing.
Yeah. And you know what you said, Lora, that I find to be very powerful is, again, we've been trained and conditioned, most of us, not all of us, but most of us have been trained and conditioned to run away from the pain, right? We don't want the painful thoughts. We don't want to be in grief. And our body physiologically is made up that way. We are designed to move towards pleasure and away from pain, right? So now we have the conditioned beliefs, just however our earliest caregivers showed or didn't show us how to handle emotions, because 99.9% of us probably didn't have a healthy home that showed us proper ways to move through emotions, right? We just we learned to manage, right? Depending upon where we were, our space in the family, the caregivers we had, we just learned the best we could with what we have. And what I know to be true is that those first thoughts that come up, like you said, those thoughts of, I could just die here today in my room. Like, no one's going to know, like, who's going to know? I'm just here and done. And, they'll find me X amount of days later, whatever. Right. And those are thoughts of the fear. Those are the thoughts of the grief. Those are the thoughts that are what I would call human thoughts, right? That our brain is creating these stories in these meetings, and they're valid because you're feeling them. But the difference is they're not real. They're not fact. They're feeling. So we still have to acknowledge them, and we still have to honor them, because that's the little girl part of ourself that's just scared, worried, fearful, whatever that is. And it's very important to honor that. You would never go to a young girl and berate her for her feelings ever. You would acknowledge her. You would be with her and have compassion for her. And then you would say, okay, how can we look at this differently? But we don't normally do that for ourselves, right?
So true.
We berate and we go and we go and we go. But what ends up happening, which is exactly what you did, is if you stay with that thought long enough without making a meaning or without making a story and just being aware of it, what comes up almost, I wouldn't say immediately, but it comes up pretty quickly. You'll hear the divine inspired action thought. That's the divine thought. That's the God thought that will come up right behind it and say exactly what you said. Wait a minute. I'm valuable.
100%.
I have a mission here. So I'm either am I going to connect to the misery that's not even true, that's a story that I'm creating, or am I going to connect to my mission?
Yes.
And Lora, I think what you clicked on here at Divorcing Gracefully and Beyond, what you did very early on is you decided that you had a mission and you connected to the mission. And I see that is one of the most successful attributes that we could have as a human being, is when you wake up, you have a mission, right? And this is not a mission about what you're doing for your family or your fur babies or your children or your coworkers or your job. This is about the mission that you're waking up with. That you're waking up, that there's something greater than you. There's a purpose that's greater than you. That there's a reason why we're still alive. There's people who need Lora.
Yeah.
And that's
a good feeling.
What gets you up, right?
Absolutely.
Because then what ends up happening is we learn to cultivate love from the inside out versus outside in.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's much more meaningful that way too, because it really does come from the heart and your soul.
I remember, and this is something that I want you to share because you have to tell this story too, and I love this. I remember on one of the earlier calls, and it wasn't, I wouldn't say you were resistant to allowing the thoughts to come through, but I would say you were skeptical, right? You're like, I don't know if I could do this. I get you, Donna. But what I will say is you always were, I'm going to follow what you tell me to do, right? In that sense, right? I'm going to follow what the recipe is. And you have every right to say, I don't know if it's going to work or it's not going to work, but you followed it, right? And then you were skeptical. But I remember that first time you came to one of the group coaching calls and you said, Donna, I slept last night. I slept the whole night through. I slept without waking up once. Do you remember that call?
I do. I'm emotionally even talking about it. Yeah. I think it was because, I did exactly what you said and opened up my heart and opened up my core. I had this huge armor built around my core and my heart to be protect myself, out in life. I didn't want anybody to see that I was hurting. I've always been that way. But to open up and allow that in, not only did it make me feel that I was loved, it made me feel like I wanted to give love. And it was a powerful thing. And it allowed me to rest peacefully and allowed my head to just shut off all the negative thoughts and realize that there is something here for me.
Yeah.
God is watching me. He is opening doors, and I'm going to allow this in, no matter how much I want to resist it, Donna. And especially the meditation too was I was kind of a woo-woo thing for me. I allowed that in my life because just like when I lost my weight, if you don't accept that you have to make changes, you will never see the change. And I had to allow myself to be uncomfortable in order to see the change. And boy,
man,
wow, that's all I'm going to say. The changes happen.
And it has. And I love that you said that I had to allow myself. And I'm even just going to slightly reframe that, right? You got to allow yourself to. You chose to allow yourself to allow it. Right. And to see it, but not in the place of that there's something bad or good, wrong or right. You allowed yourself to see it in the sense of, does this serve me or does this hurt me? And you notice that the way that it was in the past, it was hurting you. It wasn't adding to your life at all. And if you think about it, when we're in a place of struggle or we're in a place where our heart and our soul fracture is broken, our bodies are responding normally to an abnormal event. And what I mean by that is we don't wake up as little girls to see that we're going to, we're going through a divorce, or our heart's going to be hurt, or we're going to go through the grief that we go through losing a parent or a loved one. Like we don't wake up that way. We wake up as we're going to be married. We're going to be connected. We'll live happily ever after. We've got, when we're, I don't know about you, but when I was young, I was like, oh, I'm going to be a millionaire by the time I'm 20. I'm going to have 2.5 children. I'll have the picket fence. I'll have the dog, like all of these things, right? Because that's what we dream about. Right. But when life hits you, what I say, instead of like, excuse my language, instead of life hitting you in the balls, I said life hits us in the ovaries, right? When life hits you in the ovaries and you really get like your wind knocked out of you, your body's going to respond normally to an abnormal event. But it doesn't mean we need to buy a house on the street. It doesn't mean it's true, and doesn't mean we need to stay there. And it's the understanding that all of the tools that we've used in life prior to this point, right? The tools that you used to survive, the tools that you used through growing up, the tools that you used at work, those are great tools, but they don't correlate to this work. It's not the same tool. And we don't know what we don't know. So when you finally become
Right.
aware and without shame, blame, or condemnation, and say, wait a minute, I've done a pretty good job up until this point, but I need new tools and I
Right.
need the guidance. And what about, like, I don't know about you, but I would love to hear this from you because I don't think I've ever asked this. But to me,
Okay.
a big part of DG is we are a family, right? When you come aboard DG, we truly are a sisterhood. So what about the sisterhood in the community and just the women who are also going through the program with you? What are your feelings on that? Like, do you feel that that's valuable to you? Do you enjoy it? Do you like it? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I can tell you this, that they are my sisters. And I've grown to love these women, and I am still looking forward to all of us getting together and just being able to be there together, all of us physically, and enjoy this moment, because I honestly do feel like they're sisters. And the experiences we're going through, it's like, oh, they get me, they understand me. You know, if you haven't gone through hardships and divorce and all the things that the ladies and the gals in the group have shared, you know, you don't understand unless you're there. And so all these women are experienced or have experienced what I'm going through, and into a certain sense. But what I love is the valuable lessons they learn and share with me, because I'm writing them down, and I'm not just writing them down, I'm applying them to my life, and incorporating different strategies for how, when I get in a situation where I feel a little scared and I want to pull out, okay, so-and-so said this, and this is what she did, and she overcame it and enjoyed the experience. I mean, I could name several of the ladies, which I don't think you want me to, but that have influenced me and have, I mean, can I say their names? I don't know if you want me to say.
Yeah, you can say them. But, they'll be watching. You don't have to say last names. You can say first names so you could give them shout outs.
Sandy, the way she handles parties and things like that. I mean, what I wanted to do was hide out. If I go out to a party, I'm going to see my ex, blah, blah, blah. And I don't want to do that. I want to be back. If I hear about him, it's going to hurt me. And she went out there boldly and not only saw him, went and talked to him. She had a fabulous time.
She had a great time. Yes.
So Maya's like, okay, I can do this. And some of the gals in the group that say they're slow, like Karen, that says, I don't know, I'm the turtle. And I says, yeah, but you think about it, the turtle won in the end.
That's right.
Look what they learned. They took it, and as they grabbed things, they not just heard them, they incorporated in their life. So it might have been a little slower process, but the result was incredible. Because once you get beyond that, it's just like a part of you. I mean, and it's changing.
It reminds me of your Weight Watcher journey, like you said. You didn't have the surgery. You could have, and not that a surgery is bad or good. So I want to just be, for those of you who are on a weight loss journey, you have it. It's a personal decision what you decide to do. But you decided to do which is a slower journey, right? Learning how to eat better, learning how to manage your diet, learning how to manage and understand your body. But look at the results for you.
Yes. Well, I have to say, this was a cool experience, and I haven't shared this with anybody. I went into one of my doctors when I was really heavy, and I was having lots of issues with high blood pressure and plantar fasciitis, back pain. Well, I went in and I was having a hard time, and she went and checked me out, and she says, yeah, we got to have you on 3 blood pressure meds because you're stroke level. So I was on 3 blood pressure meds, and I remember she also diagnosed that I had sleep apnea. So they wanted to put me on the CPAP machine, and I'm like, okay, here's the deal. This is my breaking point. I'm not doing that. I do not want to be a victim to my circumstance all the time and just constantly feel like I'm going to die in this because this is what's happening to me. No, I said, I don't want the CPAP machine. I said, if I do die with this year, I don't care, because I'm not doing that. I'm going to do something that's better. I'm going to take this in my hands and change it. And within a year's time, I went back and I was almost 100 pounds down the next year. And she checked it, and she looked at me. She says, you know what? If everybody would take this prescription, I would be out of a job. And so I said, there is just something powerful about you.
This is so important that you said this, because when I say this is just in general speaking to humans, because I was this person. There's something that's called crisis action. Right? We take action when we're at a crisis point. That's most of us.
Right.
Most of us will take action. Like whether you had a health crisis, whether it's a heart crisis here at DG, right? Our soul crisis, that's when we take action. And like your doctor
Right.
said to you, if people would just follow right, and take that prescription, what you did with that committed action to change their life, she would be out of a job. It's the same thing here with a
Yep.
soul fracture. You don't
Yep.
wait for your life to be in crisis. Don't wait until it's the darkest day where you're barely able to get out of bed, or that, even if your life is successful in so many areas where you have the great job and you have good family and all of those pieces, but you're waking up every day just there's a emptiness in you, right? And you're suffering every day to go into crisis.
Yep.
Don't wait, right? Preventative, get in there and do the work, because it's so much better on the other side. So let's talk about that. Now that I consider you to be on the other side, right,
Yep.
where you've healed this, and granted, I think we could both agree to this. Our soul fracture healing is a journey. It's not like it's one and
Absolutely.
done. It's not like you heal your soul fracture and it's like rainbows and unicorns and you never have to do anything again. It's the work that we do here is exactly like Weight Watchers. We're going to do it every day. It's a way of life. It's like a shower. Yep. We're going to continue going. So it's this evolution of our soul and journey. But you have come to the other side where that when I first met you, you were in a space of taking from the environment, right? Because that's when we're in grief and we're in sadness, it's hard for us to see above the line, right? We're just trying to manage the best we can. And I feel like, and not for you, Lora, but for me, I felt when I was in your space, I did a lot of hustling, trying to convince other people to see what, like I was the good person, or that this wasn't really what, like I spent so much energy outside of myself. Right. And I think we have these conversations and we don't need to convince anybody. We get to be us now. We get to love us. And if that person enjoys and wants to learn about what we're doing, great. And if they don't, that's okay too. Right. But you're on the side now where you're actually giving back. Right. You're on the abundant side where you're able to be in this reciprocity flow where it's not all or nothing. Right. It's the giving and receiving, but it's this beautiful flow. So what could you say about that now, where that it's kind of like people say, like, I've been healthy and I've been sick. Healthy's better. I've been rich. I've been poor. Mm-hmm. Rich is better. my soul fracture has been broken or it's been healed. Healed is better. So let's talk about that. What is that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, I could have just sat in that crappy place forever. And when I just, again, I always like using my weight loss story because it taught me so much. When I lost the weight, if I would have just said, okay, I hit my goal, guess what? And I can go back to eating, doing whatever I want. And where would I be today? Probably the 310 pounds I was before. And I would be in the same spot trying to learn the same lesson all over again. But instead, once I hit that, I had actually changed my life and my lifestyle into a way that I enjoyed and I loved. And I was able to maintain it because I actually loved what I was doing. And so for me to get into abundance, yes.
And this is where you
I got into abundance.
You actually love yourself.
I do.
You love yourself. You love yourself.
I do. And that's not in an arrogant manner. I love myself because it's important for me to love myself, not only just so I can, just walk around with my head up and my shoulders up. I mean, when I first tried to get, met you, I was at suicide area. And I haven't shared that completely. There was the night before that, I was ready to end it. And so that next day when I was in extreme crisis and I was screaming to my brother and that came on, absolutely. I said, it's either this or I'm gone. And it was a dramatic decision for me to choose to live.
Yeah, you didn't share that with me, Lora. So thank you so much for sharing that. And thank you so much.
I was in a really dark place.
Yeah.
And I remember calling and talking to my boss and said, I'm going to do this program. It's going to interfere with some time at work, but I'll work around it. Could you please help me? And he was so gracious and kind and has been able to, open up my schedule, make it so I can still do my job and enjoy what I do. But I think people saw the seriousness behind it. And not only that, that was commitment for me. And it was the same thing when I was unhealthy and I was borderline, with my diabetes and stroke level. I knew I was going to die. And I really felt like that. And Donna, there's just nothing like being in the very, very depths of despair and being able to see that little sliver of light that pops through that you can grasp onto and take a hold of. And absolutely, it saved my life.
Yep.
I can tell you that.
Yep. And
So
it's that sliver of light is our soul guiding us, right? That it's that you could feel the pull. It's not anything that we could, I don't know if I could explain it in words, but it's this guidance and this pull. And that's why I truly believe here at DG, and you hear me say this often, Lora, is that I believe the Divorcing Gracefully and Beyond curriculum is God breathed. I believe I was the scribe who wrote it, right? But it wasn't from me. It was through me. I truly believe that. And that's why when I happened to show up on your Facebook feed at that particular time, there was no coincidence.
absolutely.
It was like this, and we couldn't, in billions of people across the world, we could never have planned this. We could never have planned it and together. And not only that, but everybody, I believe, that is here in DG, that is going through the program, your sisters that graduated before you are also divinely connected to be here at this moment with you at this time.
Yep.
Right. And and what you did, Lora, is something that I think I also just have to really point out the distinction is that change will bring a challenge. Right? Change is a challenge, but we look at a challenge just because it gives us the opportunity that we can move through it. When we say something's hard, or we say something that gives our brain the option to say, well, I'm not going to do it. Right. But when we say this is a challenge, we're going to do it. And when you decide to do the work on yourself, everything else will fall into place. You don't have to worry about it, but you've got to be willing to commit to it. Like you said, this wasn't in perfect timing with your work, but you decided to do this work because you knew this for you was life or death. And you decided, I am doing this work. And you had the conversation with your boss who allowed you to shift your time schedule. All sort of worked out. Right. And so many people will feel that whether it's the work here at DG or it's another work wherever their path is taking them, but they'll get the message and they'll get the divine guidance to be invited to finally heal their soul for whatever it is again. But then fear will come in and they'll 1,000 excuses that we've been conditioned for. I'm not going to do it. Maybe the pain's not bad enough. I'm living good enough. Right. And again, it's all valid, but what's the payoff of that? Right? What's the payoff of living a good enough life, or living half-assed, or living at a fraction of what you could be, or in suffering every day? Right? Yeah. Like I had this conversation with someone the other day who said, I'm not ready to do the work here. Like she's divorced and her heart is hurt, which is fine. I honor that, right? There is never a force to do the work. Either you're going to do it or you won't. And that's your journey. But part of our conversation was, she goes, yeah, because I go on great vacations all the time and I love it. And I said to her, but what do you do on those vacations? And she says, I cry on those vacations. I cry during those vacations because I'm so lonely.
Oh, wow.
And so it's, and again, what her thinking is what so many of us think is, we think that if we do other things, it's going to get better, or we don't need the work, or we have this belief system that, why can't we get it? Right? Most people, I think you see this, Lora, including yourself. Most women in DG are very smart, intelligent, lovely, heart-centered, committed women who have a level of success at work and business and in life. And it is frustrating. Like, why can't I figure this part out of my life? I can figure everything out over here. I just can't figure out this part. And it's not because you weren't able to figure it out. We just didn't have the right tools and the right mentor and the right framework and the right mindset. And when you're given the right tools, that's where you go, right? Like that's all you needed. It was just a shift of tools and a shift of focus.
And commitment to do it. I mean, I could have paid for this course and got in it and just listened to the little Zoom calls and went to work and said, yeah, but I committed to doing the work. And if you remember right, I was so stressing out about meditating. And you're like, well, you're overthinking. You don't think when you meditate. You let your brain, your subconscious take over. I'm like,
yes.
How do you do that? How do you do that? And you just have to allow something greater into you and really be committed to just allow. Like you said, the allowing part for me was really hard because I want to control everything, every aspect of my life. And when I can't, that's when I spiral down. But it was a challenge for me to sit back and be still and to think and allow and allow. And I'm like, allow is almost like a swear word to me, because, it's like, what? This is not right. I don't allow things. I make things happen. But part of our journey too is once you allow, then you can make things happen. You can change your life.
Yeah.
And you know what I did with that little negative voice? I do this, flicking right off my shoulder and say, go away.
I love it. I love it.
Because, and they keep crawling up and reappearing and reminding us that we're not, we don't have it all figured out. But the stronger and the more committed we are to having abundance and joy in our life, the quicker it is to flick them out. And we talked about refractory period.
Yep. The refractory
what a big deal that is.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's like you say, it's a journey. It's not, okay, I got it figured out. I'm going to close the chapter on figuring out myself and put it away now up on the shelf and I'm good. No, I've learned this. Now, what else am I going to do? What else am I going to bring into my life?
That's the beauty, is what else can I explore? What else? Because it brings in this sense of creativity and adventure and spirit, where before, when we're in fight or flight and our brain is in control of everything, all it does is it's going to scan the environment for what could go wrong. It's going to scan the environment for where you could be stuck. It's going to scan the environment for all of the bad things. And there is no potential. See, like that's such an important part, Lora, right? When we're in that space, and again, it's a normal space. Your body is acting normally to an abnormal situation. It's a normal space, but we become almost it's like emotional terrorism with our own thoughts. No one is beating us up, right? There's no one's putting the jail around us except for us. And when we finally realize that, wait a minute, let me just draw the line in the sand and know that I can't bring in the right soulmate. I can't bring in the job that I want, the income that I want, the relationships that I want outside of myself. If I just take a moment to slow down, right, and understand that I get to love me, perhaps for the first time ever, in the way that we learned how to love ourselves, right? Then we become fertile soil for us to activate. And we talk about this, right, with the acorn at DG. We have the acorn, that in the acorn is a mighty seed. That's a mighty seed. And that seed is a mighty oak tree. And if that acorn doesn't fall in fertile soil, it's going to go back to whence it came, which is just dirt, versus falling in fertile soil where it could grow into the mighty oak tree. That's its mission, to provide shade, to provide air, to provide food for the environment. It's the same thing with us. If we fall in soil that's not fertile, we're going to suffer. When we fall in soil that's active, we get to go. So, Lora, what would you say for people, or just in general, women who are struggling, their heart has been broken? Let's just say they have their life somewhat together, right? Their work, they've got their job, they know where they're living, they kind of are, all of those pieces are sort of together, but it's this emotional turmoil that they're suffering. Is there any wisdom that you would like to share, any guidance that you would like to share from your journey of everything that, encompassing all of you? What would you like to share with them?
Well, very simply, and a very simple statement that you told me: be still.
Yeah. Be
still, sit with your thoughts, allow them to come into your mind, and then find that you have value, and allow the thought, allow the feeling, allow all the heartache that you have to be there. But then also focus on your mission in life. What do you want to accomplish in life? Where do you want to go? You are an inspired person. We are not here by chance. All of us have a mission on earth to do something. And if you feel hopeless and helpless and stuff, I think more than anything I say is I sit back, and for me, God is who I talk to. I say, God, what is my mission for me? And then I sit and think about it. And I allow those thoughts and feelings to come into my life. And it's amazing what inspiration will give you. And then don't just sit on the inspiration. Force yourself, because I feel like I've had to a lot in this journey so far. Force yourself to get up and do just something small.
Yes.
And just open that door, just crack open the inside of that hurt and that pain, and find that little girl, that core, that beautiful girl inside, and just allow a little bit to come out. And as you do, I think the door opens more and more, and more joy will come in too, because we block the joy out, because we have to hate ourselves. We have to, for all the stuff that was our part, or how we were beat down, maybe in a relationship or by others. We can sit with that for years and just say, yeah, I'm worthless, blah, blah, blah. And I will tell you something too. It's so important to really take hold of allowing that pain and to really sit with that. But I found myself wanting to get back out. As soon as I started learning something, there is something special about sharing even just a little something to someone. You don't know how it's going to affect them. So just force yourself to serve maybe that much at the beginning. And the blessing of service comes back into your life. And I mean, I always felt a little selfish when I open the door and I serve. And it's not because I want something, but when I do, I'm given so much. That's the abundance I feel, is when you are willing to open up and truly, truly show love and kindness to others and be understanding and be a real friend, be a real sister, be a, somebody that really cares. And if you don't be there. I say being authentic is important. So if it is just cracking the door open and saying hi to somebody you walk by down the street, do that. And then build on that. And every day take those little times to sit still and feel a little bit of peace in your life and be willing to open it a little bit more. And as you go, your life becomes more and more abundance. There's abundance that comes in and you give abundance out. And people feel that. And you can see that light. You can see that aura, that light. Donna, the first time, I'm going to just have to brag a little. The first time I met you and saw your little smiling face that I see every time, there is a light about you. And there is a draw for me to want to be around you. And when people start saying, wow, there's just something different about you. Did you cut your hair? Did you lose a little weight? Did you do this? And you're like, no, I'm just feeling good. And they see that change.
When other people see it in you, they see it, and then they want to be around you. Like you said, it's a magnetic attraction, right? You don't have to even do anything. You don't have to plan anything. You don't have to hustle for anything. It's just you being you. And I love that you said just being present and be that. And if you can't be that, then don't be there.
Exactly. Do not be phony.
Lord, that is profound.
Because number one is just going to make you feel crappy.
I think I need to put that in a fortune.
Write it down, Donna.
Yes, we have to
write it down.
I'm gonna make sure that Andy goes through this after we're finished and writes down all these little tidbits, because it is a level of accountability and responsibility, and it's okay, right? It's okay if you're having a wobble, but let's not make that the identity of who you are. Your identity, and I'm quoting Laura Terry here. The identity is you are born and you are an inspired being. That's your identity. You're an inspired being. So if you've lost your path or you've fallen off track because your inspiration has been quenched by the circumstances, then it's our accountability and responsibility to say, what role did I play in this to get my life to this point? What can I do differently next time? And where do I need to forgive? Right? Because I was just listening to this conversation this morning, and the whole conversation was God, universe, source isn't stopping and starting the faucet of abundance. That faucet is on when you're born. You are born an inspired person. That faucet goes on and never turns off, ever. But because of where we are in our mindset, in our belief systems, and what we've been conditioned to, we are either going to appropriate God's blessings and bring them into our life, or we're going to quench them and repel them out of our life.
Do you remember talking about that, taking the ocean and putting the hose into the ocean and having the ever-flowing water?
Let's share it. I think someone may need to
you said, yes, that she's Donna. This is quoting Donna Rutowicz.
Yes, we could quote each other. Yeah. Yes,
we can. So you had talked about how we could bring this into our lives, and some of us take a little tiny thimble and we walk up to the edge of the ocean. We put a little bit of water in there, and that's all we're willing to take. And we walk away with that, and that's all you get, right?
Yeah.
Or there's somebody might be one little bit more, so they pull up there with the big truck, and they fill the whole back end of the truck with the water, and they go away, and they go, I have more abundance, more of this in my life. And then you said, then there's those people that go in and they hook they tap into that water, and it's ever flowing. So it's a continuous amount of abundance that is coming into your life. And I feel that. I feel that when I have allowed myself to open up and be vulnerable and allow that abundance into my life, that it absolutely, it's a whole new way to live. It's a whole new way to live. I can't even tell you, there's so much joy in allowing abundance into your life. Instead of, me, I had a huge problem with forgiveness. And I was angry all the time. And everybody says, oh, she's kind of a mean girl. And truthfully, I was, and still can be. I still wobble in those areas. And I go to anger when I'm feeling hurt. But when I get that out of there, figure out that anger is actually hurt. You've been hurt. And so I rebuttal with anger.
To hurt. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So when you allow the hurt in and you say, okay, enough of that. I feel that. I know how that feels. I've been there. I've sensed that. And now I'm going to remove that and put the abundance back into my life. Yeah. And it continues to flow. And the more you are aware of it, and the more you can be still, the more you allow it in. Again, you can be happy in no matter what situation. COVID, hardships, it is such an incredible feeling to realize, even if the worst of the worst might happen to me, which, we know I don't want that. I'm not going to say, okay, give it to me. But if it does, that you have your life built on receiving abundance, no matter what the situation is, you can work through the toughest days, the biggest, hardest storms, and come out on top.
That's right, because happiness is a decision. It's an identity. It's not based upon our outside circumstances, because every single person here listening to this, you, myself, no one's immune. We're going to hit a wall at some point or another. It's just, it's good. It's guaranteed, right? It's just challenges are guaranteed.
Life. Yeah.
However, when we're in the identity of, I'm not working on happiness. I'm not trying to be joyful. I am peace. I am joy. I am, right? That's even biblical. God doesn't say, oh, I'm working on being I am. No, he says, I am.
I am.
Period.
Mm.
And now,
and even if you're not feeling that, and I'm not saying it's not being authentic, you should talk that you do have it. Because then you will.
Rhonda's here with us. Hi, Rhonda. So glad you're here
Hi,
with
Rhonda.
us. Rhonda's another one of our DG sisters. So Rhonda, so glad you're here. But so we stand in the I am peace. Because we're commanding it. We're committed to that. That's our decision, right? That's our decision. Yeah. And that's so often we waffle on decisions, or we think, maybe, am I doing it right? Or maybe, is this the right way? No, when we say I am this, we are now commanding the universe. We are commanding how we're showing up in life. We're commanding our identity. So when something comes in our way, because when you say I am peace, I am strength, I am joy, when a challenge comes in your way, now you're going to move through that challenge from the identity of that person. You're not going to move through the challenge as the identity as the hurt and broken soul you were, right? You're moving through the challenge from a much different perspective. And everybody, I think the most successful people on this earth, the more and more that you up-level your life and the more and more that you open up your heart, the challenges are going to come, but it's your ability to move through them. That's the most successful person, is our ability to move through those challenges, because those challenges are only presenting as we see them. We're not really looking at the challenges in reality. We're looking at them as we see them and from the perspective that we have. So as we raise our vibrational frequency and as we change our identity, those same challenges that a year ago seemed like a huge mountain that we would never be able to go through, now we look back and they're like this little big, right? They're like, oh man, like look at that. I could scale over that. It's like a little bit of a bump, right?
It's really true, because when you're changing and you really start feeling that you are what you're telling yourself. People align in your life that are different. Some people can't handle where you've moved and they might move out. And I have to tell you, for the gals that are probably sitting here going, well, that's good that you can say that I don't feel that. And on Dona, I will tell you, because I had a real thing with self-love. And I think most of us that go through these traumas do. I mean, just telling myself that I was good felt fake. And
Yes.
the thing is I think as women, especially because we have always been the service ones, we're the ones that's supposed to give and
Yep.
sacrifice for the families and the children and everything, that there is
Mm-hmm.
something to be said. Sometimes you have to fake it till you make it. I'm sorry, but you do. You have to say, I am good. I
Yes.
deserve to have a beautiful life. And I think the more you say that, the more you create. And these, Donna in our group has us create vision boards. And my vision board was on loving myself. And some people might look at that and go, oh, geez, that's ridiculous. No, it starts there. It starts there. And as I created it,
everything starts there.
it
Yeah.
is. It is. And as I created and put these little images of things I wanted, or actually used pictures I had in the past, when I remembered I had peace and joy and I felt good about where I was at in my life, I put those on. It inspired me to say, I am good.
Yes.
I am special.
And
I am valuable.
Yeah. And it's embedded in your system, right? Because
Totally.
that's how our subconscious brain works. If you are consistently telling yourself, if you're consistently telling everybody else outside of you, I'm so proud of you, you're doing a great job, but then internally you're saying, God, this will never happen for you. You know, you're guilty. This is your fault, or this is not possible for you. That's basically what you're embedding in your subconscious. So you're going to create more of it. So people don't understand that when we speak to ourselves, we are actually encoding our whole entire system. That's why so many people that and there's been studies that said that people who've been through divorce and who have had trauma from divorce, if they don't really do the work to move those feelings and those emotions through the system, about 10 years later, disease shows up.
Oh, yes.
Because
totally.
It's just embedded,
totally.
right? It just stays stuck into all of these places, right? And so, it's this movement and this flow and this ability to, like what you said is I am. And I teach you, right? If you can't, there's some people who say, I can't say I am because it really is, it's crosswise to my brain. We say, I'm on my way to learning to love myself, right? Do you see that little shift, right? I'm on my way to learning to love myself. Now your brain could say, wait a minute, I could take that. I could, that's something I could consume, right? I could sit with.
Yes. That's what I had to do. And I mean, you're preaching to the choir here, because you had to convince me to say it that way, because I wasn't willing to do it. I did not want to do that. And as you can see behind me, up on my shelf up there, that's my vision board up there.
I love it. Yes.
And every time I come into my kitchen, now I look up there and I say, I am valuable.
I am.
I'm awesome. I am in love with me. And it is, I can say that and I feel good about it. I don't have to say, oh, I'm going to go hide in a closet and say it because I don't want anybody to hear it, because, I really don't believe it. Because at first I had to say, I'm working on loving myself. I'm going to get there. I know I will love myself at some point, blah, 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 that way. But today, now, it was just a few weeks ago. It just hit me. It was just like a boom. It's a breakthrough.
In such a short period of time, right?
I couldn't believe it.
And this, guys, this is for anybody who's listening to this. And again, it doesn't have to be my message. It could be, wherever your heart is leading you. But here at DG, it doesn't take years and years and years and years. I think our whole life is going to be a continual evolution of what we've learned, because to me, DG is a way of life. Like DGB, which is Divorcing Gracefully and Beyond, is my way of life. It's just my operating system. It's my basis of everything that I do. And I bring in all different tools and information, but it's this evolution of yourself. But it doesn't have to take, don't believe people when they tell you, oh my God, this is going to take years to get through, or, you got to be in therapy and you got to do this and you got to do, because it's not true.
Yep.
Right?
Oh, shoot, Donna, you mean when I'm done it with these 3 months, I don't have it all figured out? What are you talking about?
Right? You know what, Laura? I want you to write the owner's manual, and this way, so then we all have the manual.
Yes, because just like my weight loss, if I would have just stopped the journey, I always say my journey's ended when I'm 6 feet under and pushing up daisies. That's when my journey here on Earth has ended.
I say the same thing.
Period.
A little differently, but I say we're either growing or we're dying, and I'm growing.
Yes.
That's it.
And I'm going to grow and grow. And
my grave, man, sliding into that grave. I'm going to having lived life. I'm going to have loved myself. Even if I make what we call mistakes along the way, because there really are no mistakes. They're just learning journeys, right? But whatever, I am sliding there. So with that said, I think this is a perfect place to wrap up. And man, what an amazing, amazing. Oh, we could talk for hours, literally, probably.
We could. I mean, you're just, you just, can I just say, you bet. And can I just say, Donna, that I appreciate everything and your heart. I mean, I know it's a business, whatever, but I know you well enough to say you have got the best heart that just draws people in. And I think you really do care and love. And I love you. I love my DG sisters. And what an opportunity to be able to share. And like I said, my mission in life is to share and to spread peace and love and joy in the world. And thank you for the opportunity to share it today. I really appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, Laura, right back at you. I love you too. I love my DG sisters as well. I love our family. And if anyone who's listening to this is at that point where they're ready to draw the line in the sand and to commit to the work like I did, like Laura did, and knowing that we here at DG don't look at someone's success and get frustrated and say, man, gosh, she's got something that I don't have, or blah, blah. We look at it and we condition ourselves to reframe how we look at someone else's success. And we say, if she could do it, so could I. Right? Absolutely. So Laura's journey and my journey and Rhonda's journey, who's here with us, all of us, we're a family and we are a sisterhood and we are tight knit. And this is the opportunity, if you want to and you are ready to just take that line, draw it in the sand and do the work and really get busy on your life, now's the time to do it. So come join us. And below this video link at some point today, there'll be an opportunity for you to book a breakthrough call. And Laura, you know that, right? It's truly just a way for us to chat. And it's I will tell you, if I can help you, I'm going to let you know. And if I feel that there's a better or different resource, I'll let you know that too. It's an honest conversation. So take advantage of booking the call with me. Calendar is open. We're coming to a really kind of fun time, which is nice. We're coming up to the holidays, right? And getting into where everybody else will be just beginning their journey January 1, because that's what happens, right? January 1, everyone's like, oh, I'm going to do my New Year's resolutions. We would have already been done with our New Year's resolutions, and everybody's just starting, and they're going to be eating our dust. We're going to be eating our dust, right? And
I love it.
We are also having a Divorcing Gracefully and Beyond retreat, which I know you're coming to, and we're going to Cabo San Lucas in June. We're going to an amazing resort. We're going to hang out. We're going to have fun. And so you have to have gone through DG in order to be part of that retreat. So get through DG now, even if you just want to go on the trip. And then the byproduct is you get to love yourself. That's fine too.
Yeah, weird.
Have fun. All right. And for everybody, mwah, for all the DG sisters that are watching us. So
love you, sisters.
Here. And let me go ahead and I'll see you on the other side. Bye.
Bye.
We may be live still. So hi, everyone. We're just waiting for the broadcast to end.